Welcome to Review the Markets. This is looking at the markets as we closed on Triple Witching Day, 18th of December. Just looking for the week ahead in the run up to Christmas and beyond. First of all, huge apologies for those of you who logged in for our normal Sunday 6 PM session. No idea what happened. Zoom's been really reliable up till now, but I saw lots of you logging in and out again. None of you appeared to be able to hear me, so I just decided to do a separate video instead. Hopefully next time we log in, Zoom will be back to normal. So this Russell index, the small cap index in the US, is just steaming ahead, no sign of pulling back, and so it's on a huge breakout. So this is, I think this is going to be the theme for next year. I think the small to mid cap stocks are going to be doing really well, whereas if you look at the tech index with the big fangs, etc., it's had a good week, but it's struggling. It's coming up here on lower volume, so obviously no reason to sell the tech index, but small and mid caps suddenly have sprung into life, and I don't see that changing into next year. Dow, very much flatter. It just had a huge 350 pip move in the last hour and a half, including the hour after the cash session. It was still running right up until the electronic close on Friday night. So did my best to get the room engaged in that, and for some reason I got into high, got stopped, and got in there just before the run moved out. So I'll do my best to try and capture some of this as the time ticks on. So the DAX index on the weekly is good. The only index that's really struggling is the FTSE. This FTSE has had 2 weeks of lower closes with, so we look as if we are going to topple over. Well, there's a lot of noise out there with the COVID issue and this new COVID strain. So with these lower closes and coming down on low volume, it looks as if we are going to potentially come all the way back to 62.40 at that rate. So let's see how we open. I'll be employing my normal gap strategy with the Sunday open, and I'll update you on that. Basically, my gap strategy is this: it's pure and simple. If these markets gap down, so if that's the Friday close and we gap down, I'll short any pullback 50% or 100% into that gap fill with signals. Obviously, I'm not going to do that blind. I'm going to wait until we get some sell signals up here and then trade it down. If that's what happens, if we open up, so that's the Friday close, and we open up on the Sunday flat, then I'll wait until we at least get some data around the Monday open. But at the moment, the FTSE looks is by far the weakest index, as opposed to these US indices. The Dow only closed at the top of this trend line, top of this flag, so the bulls were not able to drag it above that bull flag. So yeah, it's the last few days before Christmas, so don't expect huge things. I think what we might end up doing is being flat for the very low volume these 2-3 days. We might see a lot of action between the period in the post-Christmas in the run up to the year. Excuse me. We're having one or two periods in the past seeing some drastic moves up there. So let's see what that does. Anyway, volatility index has perked up, dropped back down to 24. So, but we did have a higher close on the day. So if this starts perking up, that could suggest that indices are due for a pullback or in the process of pulling back. Okay, let's look at the dollar index. Dollar is still lower. This is a daily chart. Look at the weekly. Overall, we are still very weak. Pound on the weekly chart sits up. On the daily chart, looks less bullish. So we closed lower, but sat inside Thursday's range. so could go either way. Pound yen closed inside Thursday's range, so excuse me. Let's wait and see what Monday gives us, because like I said, a lot of noise, really bullish close in the US, but let's see how the European markets digest this data, this information, and see what that causes. Euro flat on Friday, sitting up very proud, but due a pullback. Euro yen, pin bar, and really struggling. So let's just see again how that opens. A lot of resistance up here. You can see the 1st September we started a big drop from here. No reason to sell it at this stage, but just be very cautious. The bulls in other areas like commodities, and this copper is still closing higher. We've come a long way from 43.75 up to that 8,000. Things like wheat still holding up, and the beans are even more bullish. They're still making new highs. So we have still maintained this very bullish stance in the US and Germany, but it's just the UK that's holding back on the indices. Quick look through the stocks. Let me just find my stock list here. Let's start with oil, Shell. I keep saying this. We've had a decent run. We look lower. It seems to be the way. The last couple of Sundays, that's how we started. So yeah, we've had a really big push up from a low of 843. We're up here at 1341. Oil is holding up. If you're not in this, I would wait for a pullback. If you're in this, be careful. It's that time of year when we tend to see profit taking. Could go into a very bumpy January, and at the moment the highs are selling. We had a couple of, we've had a really decent run here, and that's hesitant. So BP hesitant, can't really add much more to that. Blink charging is, wow, very shallow pullback to 19. We'll be up to 40 on that one. Let's look at the miners. Gold's had a good run, so Pan African is back up to resistance at 24, just under 24.60. Griffin looks lower, that's really struggling up here. Fortuna Silver, really strong market, sitting up very well, but could well pull back. Banks, Lloyd's, definitely pulling back. So this is the weakness, this is the hole in the plan for the bulls. We've had a run into 40 plus, 41 on this one. Now we are at 35, looking lower. Barclays holding up a lot better, 145. Could go higher, but a lot of issues in the market at the moment. No reason to sell it, just manage your trade if you're long. If you're looking to get in it, sit tight, sit on your hands. Alright, things like Rolls, it's had a run, held up, could pull back before that's ready for another decent run. So that's the theme for the markets. Let me just look at US stocks. Well, the US stocks, the US at the moment is a completely different story. The US stocks just held up really well. It's just the UK that's just suffering. Because if you look at Apple, pushed higher into 130 and then closed lower. So bullish, but could potentially be fragile. Boeing, pushed into 240 and is under 220, so looks lower. Okay, so it's a mixed picture. My overall message is, if you've got profits, lock them in. Consider taking them off if you've had a good run. If you're looking to get in these trades, sit on your hands. That's my overriding message. Alright, so these Sunday 6 PM sessions and midweek 6 PM sessions will continue. Drop me a line if you're not registered. I'll give you details. Otherwise, stay tuned. Have a good week and have a good Christmas. Talk to you soon. Bye.